Good morning. I'm Peter Thomas, Executive Director of the Marine Mammal Commission. I'm very pleased to be able to speak with you today. The U.S. manages marine mammals primarily under the Marine Mammal Protection Act and the Endangered Species Act. The Marine Mammal Protection Act incorporates the concept of restoring and maintaining marine mammal populations as significant functioning elements of healthy marine ecosystems. Management authority is split between the Fish and Wildlife Service and the National Marine Fisheries Service, with National Marine Fisheries Service having authority for whales and pinnipeds other than walruses. The MMPA established the Marine Mammal Commission to provide oversight and recommend to other federal agencies actions and policies to further the purposes and policies of the Act. The Commission is not a regulatory agency and has no enforcement responsibilities, but other agencies are required to adopt Commission recommendations or provide a detailed explanation of their rationale for declining to do so. The Commission provides independent science-based oversight of U.S. policies and actions needed to conserve marine mammals and their ecosystems domestically and internationally. Today, we're working to address a host of threats to marine mammals and their habitats, including several that apply to right whales, such as fisheries entanglement, vessel collisions, disturbance from offshore energy development, and climate change. Our three commissioners are presidentially appointed and Senate confirmed. They're supported by our small staff and the advice and guidance of our Committee of Scientific Advisors, 9 eminent experts in marine mammal science. Let's talk about our role. I've stated that we're an independent science-based oversight agency, but you might be wondering exactly what part the Commission plays in right whale conservation. The Commission has been engaged in North Atlantic right whale conservation as far back as 1980, when an oil refinery was proposed for Eastport, Maine. In the mid-1990s, we recommended that NMFS establish the Atlantic Large Whale Take Reduction Team, and we've participated on that team since its inception. Our role is unique. Through our annual meetings, we review the latest science and policy developments and bring together stakeholders to discuss our regional marine mammal issues. Our 2017 meeting in Falmouth, Massachusetts, focused on right whales at a time when concerns over the population's trajectory were just emerging. Sessions explored leak rope developments and reviewed pop-up gear trials conducted by the New England Aquarium with support from the Commission, NMFS, and the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. The Commission's Small Grants Program allows us to provide seed money to projects based on emerging concepts such as the Sail Drone program for detecting North Pacific right whales, the Whale Alert app, and pop-up gear technology. This year, we're continuing to support projects to build out the infrastructure of Whale Map, foster collaboration in developing gear location technologies, and implement gear innovations to reduce whale entanglement in the California Dungeness crab fishery. The Commission works with other agencies to develop and garner support for the marine mammal assessments, novel research methods, and data aggregation and access tools needed to inform marine mammal conservation and management programs, especially in the face of climate change. The Commission has regularly recommended expansion of and improvements to surveys to determine more precisely where right whales, whether North Atlantic or North Pacific, are throughout the year. The Commission also serves as a resource to Congress. We provide up-to-date information through informational briefings and recommend additional measures to further the policies of the Marine Mammal Protection Act. The Commission also provides drafting services to congressional offices, helps develop administration positions on legislation, and recommends funding priorities. We prepare for briefings by contacting other agencies and consortium members, checking whale monitoring databases, and drawing on the work of many of you here today. The Commission's core work lies in providing well-reasoned recommendations to regulatory and action agencies regarding proposals, actions, policies, and rules affecting marine mammals. We most often engage on right whale issues through our comment letters and recommendations. These are available at the mmc.gov website. We take this responsibility very seriously and base our comments on the best available science, clear application of the provisions of the Marine Mammal Protection Act and other pertinent laws, and directives from Congress and the courts. In the Commission's current work on North Atlantic right whales, we continue to closely track and comment on ongoing and potential threats to right whales, including entanglement, vessel strikes, and offshore energy development. We appreciate the difficulty of the work that our partners and other agencies are doing to reduce these threats, but we have recommended that they implement stricter fishery, vessel speed, and routing measures to conserve this imperiled species and fulfill the federal government's legal obligations. For example, the MMPA's immediate goal for a take reduction plan is to reduce mortality and serious injury to less than a stock's potential biological removal level, that is less than 1 North Atlantic right whale per year. It's supposed to do that within 6 months of the original plan's implementation. The longer-term goal is to reduce mortality and serious injury to insignificant levels, approaching a 0 rate within 5 years. Since the Atlantic Large Whale Take Reduction Plan was adopted in 1997, not even the short-term goal has been achieved, despite the implementation of numerous amendments and incremental mitigation measures. The most recent amendment to the plan aims to reduce entanglement risk from lobster and Jonah crab gear by 87%, but only to be realized over a 10-year period, an interval over which impermissibly high levels of right whale mortality will occur from entanglement. The Commission therefore recommended that NIMS adopt more aggressive measures designed to reduce mortality and serious injury much more quickly. While we have fairly good data on the numbers of right whales that become entangled and the consequences of entanglement for individual whales and for the species as a whole, we still lack the detailed information required to attribute those entanglements to specific gear in specific areas. This has encumbered NIMS's ability to direct take reduction efforts to address the most acute problems. The Commission has been recommending better gear marking practices to address this problem for over 20 years. To address ongoing threats of vessel strikes, the Commission recently recommended that NIMS proceed directly to rulemaking to add new vessel strike protections for North Atlantic right whales along the entire U.S. East Coast, assess the need to apply speed restrictions to smaller vessels, enhance enforcement, and establish new seasonal management areas. Looking forward, we have identified 4 major areas where we think the Commission, in conjunction with the consortium, can improve the outlook for right whales. In terms of management, we will continue to apply the information collected by the consortium's science programs to push for stronger management measures to reduce the risk of entanglement and vessel strikes needed to adhere to the requirements of the Marine Mammal Protection Act. In terms of monitoring, recovery of North Atlantic right whales requires a comprehensive and integrated approach to acquire better information about the overlap of whales and fisheries, including through fixed and mobile acoustic monitoring technology. Long-term monitoring of ecological and oceanographic conditions is essential, as are studies to discern their relationship to right whale prey and movements. Even as we address the immediate threats from fishing gear and ship strikes, these efforts help us to understand and evaluate anticipated impacts from climate change. A higher level of effort and a federal financial commitment over a number of years are crucial to the success of these long-term efforts. The Commission will continue to advocate for these. With regard to ropeless or pop-up gear, we've been briefed regularly by NIMS on their efforts to develop this technology, and we agree that supporting this effort is the most promising alternative. We'll continue to support efforts to develop and require the use of ropeless gear and take this message to appropriators in Congress. Short of drastically expanding time area closures, ropeless gear is likely the only solution capable of preventing the extinction of the North Atlantic right whale. I also wanted to talk about international collaboration. One of the Commission's duties under the Marine Mammal Protection Act is to recommend international arrangements for the protection and conservation of marine mammals. We appreciate the efforts of the United States and Canada, both independently and cooperatively, in seeking to reduce threats to the North Atlantic right whale. However, pursuing a binding agreement between the two countries that delineates responsibilities, formalizes commitments, and fosters coordination of research and other activities could be an important step in furthering right whale conservation. Again, I want to thank the consortium for inviting me to speak today. The partnerships formed through this consortium are critical in tackling the problems North Atlantic right whales are facing and putting the species back on the road to recovery. I encourage any of you to reach out to us to discuss ideas that you have for additional steps the Commission can take to help move things forward. And I thank you all for your work.